The Denver Nuggets season could end tonight, or could they do something radical and win Game 6? He's Aniello Piro. I am Jake Shapiro, and this is the Mile High Hoops podcast presented by Mountain High Appliance. Radical thing is to shop there. We love radical things. I'm from Boulder, Colorado, so it's a word I use a lot. AP, you're bringing the positivity today. Before we even got going, you're talking about how they're going to win tonight. You've got a feel on this. I have had no feel on any game in this series. Why are the Nuggets going to win tonight, according to you?
Yeah, they're winning tonight, bro. I woke up today and I've been a pretty negative Nancy. I feel like every pregame show we've done, I think I've picked them to lose. But today I woke up and honestly, immediately after Game 5, I kind of started to feel this way. Look, here's the reality situation. They have been waxed one time in this series in Game 2. I think it's going to be another competitive game here tonight. Jokic balled out in the last game. MPJ, let's get into that in just a moment. I have some questions about MPJ for you, but I think Jamal's going to show up. Aaron Gordon's been dialed in. I think Christian Brown's been a little up and down these last couple of games. And the other thing is, and maybe there's no statistics or anything to back this up, this is pure feel, I don't think they're losing 3 in a row. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't think they're going to go out sorry. I think they're going to force a Game 7. Nuggets in 7 was also my pre-series prediction. So I'm just expecting Denver to learn from their mistakes in Games 4 and Game 5, play with some passion. They tend to be their best when their back's against the wall, and we'll see that here tonight in Game 6 against Oklahoma City. But feeling pretty good about this game today.
Do you know the last time the Denver Nuggets lost 3 games in a row?
Right before Malone got fired, no?
They fired their coach. That's what happened.
Yep.
That Minnesota game culminates in the Spurs game and just the 3 in a row. I had a stat out, and I haven't gone back to the well on this stat because it's become a little irrelevant over the last year or so because it's happened more times. But essentially, I had this stat for a while that was the Nuggets hadn't lost 3 games in a row. Both Jamal were healthy regular season, except for 2 times between the middle of 2024 all the way going back to before the bubble. They do not lose 3 games in a row. These guys, they force long series. We already talked about Game 7 stuff last time this happened, but I think Nikola Jokic has played in 7 Game 7s already in his career or something like that, which is just insane.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this still goes 7. I still maintain, like I said on Tuesday's podcast with James Marilat, I don't know how the Denver Nuggets are getting to 100 points. They got to 105 in garbage time in that game, but it is going to be a struggle to get to 100 points. So can you hold Oklahoma City under 100 as well? That's kind of one of my big questions, AP. But, you're positive. I like the positivity. I have no feel. That's just honestly, I have no feel. If anything, I lean a little maybe negative just because of what we've seen the last couple games. And I think Oklahoma City has started to solve the Nuggets. I honestly think the Thunder have started to solve the Nuggets a little bit because all they have to do is make sure Nikola Jokic doesn't do Nikola Jokic things, and they can control that to the tune of maybe letting him have 45 points, but 45 points doesn't win you a basketball game.
Yeah, and it's interesting here too, because I still don't really understand how Denver lost 4 and 5. I think it was a combination of multiple different factors. There's not one thing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I think they were fatigued. I think the shot making was bad. Obviously, there's a couple of guys that you can really rely on with this team right now. But even just going back to Game 5, man, they won the first 3 quarters. Denver outscored OKC 28-27 the first and the second, and then 30-24 in the third quarter before Oklahoma City just absolutely boat raced them in the fourth. So again, is that fatigue, this, that, the other? I just think with the mindset that Aaron Gordon brings to the table, I think Jokic is in a good place, for the most part. I expect Jamal, playoff riser. I expect a good game from him. And I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to take that shot today, which should hopefully, can he get 10 points, please? If Michael Porter Jr. scores more than 2 points in Game 5, Denver's probably winning that game. So there's a lot of moving parts here, but I also just think Denver never likes to make anything easy on themselves. I actually think that they, to a certain extent, and I understand I'll put my foot in my mouth with this because of what happened last year with Minnesota, but I do think that they tend to play their best basketball when the pressure's on. And I just don't think Oklahoma City, what have they proven yet? Until Oklahoma City gets to an NBA final, I got to see it, man. There's different nerves with a Game 6. And you know what? If Denver, Game 6 in the opponent's building with an opportunity to close them out, that is not an easy scenario. If Denver can force a Game 7 It's a coin flip game. We don't know how OKC is going to be in the pressure cooker, regardless if they're at home or on the road, and a do or die game 7. So narrow focus. I don't like Denver to lose 3 in a row. I think they got a good chance tonight.
Yeah, the line is held steady. All the lines in this series have gone towards the Thunder. They started at one point and then they climbed with the money going in on the Thunder. That's an interesting sign. I've been looking this up today. You know, we can talk about lineups. We can talk about a lot of different things. I want to hit on a couple things of what you just said. The Nuggets starters in the playoffs have played 242 minutes together. They are a +9 in those minutes net rating. Just for reference, the Indiana Pacers starting 5, Turner, Siakam, Nembhard, Halliburton, Naismith, have only played 164 minutes. So almost 100 less minutes than the Nuggets. They're +22.
That's like a full game and some.
Yeah. Well, more than that, because these are just their minutes together. Right.
Yeah. Wow.
So this is like almost a series worth of games. Then you've got the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've played 130 minutes together. Conley, Gobert, Randall, Edwards, McDaniels. They're a +19. I'm trying to find the Oklahoma City one right now. Hartenstein, Gilgeous-Alexander, Dort, Holmgren, Williams. They've played 119 minutes. They're a +7.5. Their best lineup that has played more than 34 minutes together is actually Caruso, Hartenstein, Wiggins, Williams, and Wallace, which is something we've been mentioning in this series a lot. They seem like they get better when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's off the floor. I will give it the big caveat of a lot of those guys' minutes have come when Nikola Jokic is also off the floor.
Right.
So it's kind of skewing that number a little bit. You also talked about, well, why did the Nuggets lose game 5? I watched game 4 and game 5 back. Game 5, I think, was a little more frustrating than game 4 to watch back because the Nuggets had a bigger lead, because Nikola Jokic looked like Superman in that game. In 221 playoff games since 2013-14, there have been 221 games, like I just said, of a player having 20-plus potential assists. Nikola Jokic had 20-plus potential assists in that game. Nikola Jokic's teammates only converted 25% of those 20-plus potential assists. That is the lowest conversion rate ever in a playoff game since 2013-14. So as you know, we talked about right away after the pod before the advanced data came out, when your teammates go 3 for 27 from the field to end the game, it's obviously bad. But the more you look into it, it's not even like Nikola Jokic wasn't throwing good passes or wasn't distributing. He was still doing his thing. And AP, I don't know what you're supposed to do about it when I want Jamal Murray shooting an open shot. He's in rhythm, catch and shoot. Like, what are you supposed to do when he misses? I don't know what the other thing the Nuggets can do. So that's the frustrating part is, yeah, they need more shooting, but ultimately there's certain guys on their team that are shooters that are not hitting their shots. Michael Porter Jr. among them. Michael Porter Jr. also going through the shoulder injury. I also, again, back to the lineup thing and just answering a couple of the things you went back and forth on. The worst 3-man lineups in the playoffs. So obviously you play with more than 3 men, but when these 3 guys are on the floor, the worst 3-man lineups in the playoffs, the Nuggets have one of the worst. It's like the 7th worst.
Shocker.
They've played 62 minutes together. Okay. Westbrook, Jokic, and Porter are a -29 over 100 possessions in their time together. So AP, when we look at it and you go, oh, you could have put Westbrook out there instead of Porter, or you could have put Porter out there instead of Westbrook. Both are a death sentence for the Nuggets right now.
Yeah, and look, you and I will go scorched earth on the roster construction. We already have throughout the course of these shows, but when the season inevitably ends, I think we all know what needs to be discussed and what needs to be changed. But, bring it back to this game here tonight. I mean, Denver was in control of that game, of that being game 5 against Oklahoma City for 3 quarters. They lost 112-105. And kind of some of the numbers and metrics that you threw out there, like, yes, you want Jamal Murray taking open shots when he's in rhythm and feeling good, right? I don't think Jamal Murray is shooting 3 from 13 from 3 again. I think he'll be better. I think Aaron Gordon, who's been pretty good from 3, I don't think he's shooting 1 of 5 from 3. Christian Brown, okay, 2 of 8. Maybe the volume drops a little bit. Michael Porter Jr. get the shot. I don't think he's going 0 of 5 from 3. Maybe. You don't know with MPJ right now. But I also think in general, You talked about the assist opportunities, this and that. I expect Denver to be more crisp, but I also expect them to be much better shooting the ball. They were barely above 40% from the field in game 5 and almost won. 40 for 97. That's good for 41.2%. And then from 3, even worse, 13 of 46. That is 28.3%. So I look at it as law of averages. The fact that Denver was in that game to the very end and had a chance to steal another game in Oklahoma City, it sucks. It hurts the fashion in which they lost, but based off what I've seen with this team, based off what I'm seeing with the numbers, I don't think they'll play as bad and shoot as bad from the field and from the three-point line in this game here tonight, do or die game 6.
So I asked the question in the podcast title, what's the radical thing the Denver Nuggets could do tonight? Because their back's up against the wall. They're gonna be throwing punches in ways that we haven't seen, and just trying to win this game. Do you have an answer as to what something radical the Denver Nuggets could do tonight to try and, just do whatever it takes to win this game?
I don't know if there's any one thing in particular. I know there's the idea of maybe throwing Julian Strawther out there in the first half, trying to get him some more run. I don't hate that. You just know where he's at defensively and what SGA and company can do on offense. Does his offense outweigh his defense? That's the question they've got to ask. But if you want to go in the mythical sense too, well, let me say this first. I don't know. I don't think this is going to happen, but I need Denver to go out there in the first quarter and punch him in the mouth. Like that's what I need. I need Denver to win the first quarter 30-20. That's what I'm looking for, is come out, show Oklahoma City that you're not going to roll over and die, get in their head and play the rest of the game from there. But I'll put it this way. Rocky hits the backwards half-court shot. It's a lock tonight, buddy. It's a lock.
So I realize I'm about to talk out of both sides of my mouth a little bit here, but there are 3 things that I want the Denver Nuggets to do tonight. 1, I want DeAndre Jordan or Vlatko Čančar or somebody to come in towards the end of the first quarter and set the hardest freaking screen you've ever seen in your life. Just put someone on the floor. This is the veteran team. These young guys,
like Kobe and Pau Gasol in the Olympics a while back.
Yes. Lou Dort thinks he's going to flop. Well, let's make him flop. That's what I want to see the Denver Nuggets do. Is Mark Davis is officiating this game. Set the tone. You want to be physical. The Thunder have been so physical on this series. Lou Dort's playing football out there, Aniello, and the Nuggets have not responded to that, partially because they don't have the depth to get into foul trouble. So that's part of this. So I'm throwing someone out there at the end of the first quarter for the sole purpose of gooning it up. And I know people don't like that in today's day and age in the NBA, but the Thunder have been doing it all series, and the Nuggets can't let that slide. Number 2, this game will be won defensively by either team. The Nuggets need to play an awesome game on defense. That maybe means playing Peyton Watson some more minutes. That maybe means having Russell Westbrook just be an energy defender, whatever it takes. You're going to double team Shea. You're going to force Jalen Williams to come up big in big spots again. I do not want to leave Alex Caruso open. He's been in these big spots. The Nuggets know how to defend this team. They just don't have the personnel to do it. So just do some radical things on the defensive end that we have not seen, or we've only seen for times in this series. Play the zone as much as possible when Shea is on the floor. When Shea's not on the floor, the zone hasn't worked. Number 3, and this is the talking out of both sides of my mouth. I want Julian Strawther to play 15-plus minutes tonight. He played 10 minutes in game 5. He was only a -1. He was a awesome movement shooter for the Nuggets on that one play. He brought some really good energy on defending Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If it's a train wreck and Julian can't be out there for more than a few minutes, okay, pull him. But he was actually pretty good in his own defense, and I'm asking you to play more zone defense. So play more zone defense. Give Julian more burn, especially if Mike starts off cold, and let's see how it goes, because the Nuggets absolutely need some shooting, even if it is from a very young player.
Yeah, and to run with that thought for just a second, I think it was Zach By on the drive yesterday threw this notion out there. I think tonight for Michael Porter Jr., if you're David Adelman, you give him one quarter. I think you give him the first quarter, see how he looks, and if he looks as bad as he did in game 5, I think you sit him on the bench. I really do believe that, and I understand that Denver's shooting isn't all there. The roster is discombobulated, this and that. But he has been so bad. I mean, what is it? 4 of the 5 games in the series, he's under 10 points.
Yeah, but people are only looking at the scoring because the way that
that's what he's here for. That's what he's here for.
I understand that. It's being framed that way because that's why he's paid, but he's also a very good rebounder, and he's also been a really solid defender for large stretches of this series, particularly one-on-one. There's a reason why he hasn't been hunted the entire time through 2 playoff series, because he's been good as a one-on-one defender. He struggles sometimes off ball is when he gets into issues. So I would give Porter at least a half. They did that already in a playoff game earlier this year at home. I forget which one that was exactly.
Yeah, Clippers.
And it was game 5 against the Clippers where he just ended up sitting the second half essentially. But I give him the half and see how he plays in the half, because you need that size out there. And Peyton Watson's 3-point issues are, Peyton Watson and Michael Porter Jr. with one arm are the same 3-point shooter. So
half quarter, I think you and I are both in agreement, though, that the leash needs to be a little shorter tonight with Michael Porter Jr. I don't think you can blindly trust him.
The leash is short on everyone tonight. You're in an elimination game. And, I'm fascinated to see what David Adelman does at the start of the fourth quarter, if Nikola Jokic plays or not.
I think
I think that was part of the reason they lost. I don't think that was the main reason they lost, but David Adelman knows. And, I read that stat off to AP about how in the last 4 games, they're 1-3 when Jokic plays the whole fourth quarter. The one win? It was the 20-point blown lead with Aaron Gordon hitting a tip dunk at the buzzer to win it.
Of course. So, put a little asterisk on that, just because of the heroics that it took. Can we talk MPJ 1 second? Because I didn't pick up on this after game 5. Is it, you probably know more about this than I do. Did he not take the shot ahead of game 5?
So I wasn't there, so I don't know for sure. My understanding is some games he has gone without the shot.
And just raw dogging it?
Yes. Because
that's crazy.
Because he can't, the swelling at the injection site leaves a lingering effect that affects him so much into the next game that the shot doesn't actually take. So he's been taking them like every other game, basically, which is why he's been so up and down. But he did take it before game 7 against the Clippers, which is why he was so good. So I don't know where he's at with his shot status. I do know that the quick turnaround between 3 and 4 was really, it affected him probably more than it affected any other player. So if MPJ takes that shot, I'm maybe giving him a longer leash. If MPJ doesn't, it's he's out there for rebounding.
Isn't it crazy how MPJ and Christian Brown, if they hit that first 3-point attempt, how much that does for them the rest of the game? Like every single time, if MPJ knocks down his first shot, if Christian Brown knocks down his first corner 3, it just feels like the floodgates open for their game offensively moving forward.
I think they get defended differently as well, is part of it too. Because the Thunder have, in that game 5, if you watch it back, the Thunder started feeling like MPJ wasn't the shooting threat that he is according to the numbers.
100%.
That's how they started defending him. So that's a big, big problem. And if he's not going to be out there and create space and shoot, then you might as well just put Peyton Watson out there to play defense and, run around and be athletic, even though he literally can't finish a layup to save his life.
Yep.
So, I think, I don't know, man. It would be awesome to get the Nikola Jokic historic all-time game tonight. It would be awesome to have AG step up in a way that he has been all postseason long. But I do think that eventually the gas and the legs are going to catch up with the Nuggets. I feel like it has, and I don't know that they're going to be able to refuel in time in order to get up for this game. And to me, this Thunder team has been really galvanized over the last 2 games, and the way they're talking has changed even a little bit, where you start believing some of what they're saying. And I said it to you before the fourth quarter of game 4. If they come back and they prove something strong in that fourth quarter, the Thunder are going to win the title this year. And since that's happened, the Thunder have looked amazing. That game 5 that just happened in Oklahoma City, to me, that was the pure opposite of game 4 in Denver. It was well executed from both sides besides shot making in Denver late. It was a great game between both teams. And tonight, I would expect both teams to be a little bit tighter than that. I think it's going to be a little bit closer to 4 than it was to 5. And that probably favors the Nuggets a little bit more. And that's, again, a crazy thing to say when you're going against the top defensive team in the NBA. But the Nuggets have proved to be a very solid defensive team in this series.
Look, it's not going to be easy. Like Oklahoma City, I think, to your point, has figured some stuff out about Denver. And we've talked about how in games 4 and games 5 specifically, they've beat Denver at their own game, which is clutching up late, lights are bright, playing good basketball. But here's the reality situation. If you're David Adelman, you're in that locker room, you got to look yourself in the mirror. do or die time at home. You've got to win this game. You've got to clutch up on defense. You've got to knock down your open shots, because the other thing that you have to factor in here, if you win game 6 today, not only is game 7 in the pressure cooker back in Oklahoma City, Sunday start, all that good stuff, you're going to have 2 full days of rest. No game Friday, no game Saturday. That's about as much rest as Denver has had in between games this postseason. So I understand they're bruised and battered. They're exhausted. They're frustrated. Insert adjective here. Lock in. You have the best player in the world, Jamal Murray. We're waiting for another 40-plus point night from him. I don't think Michael Porter Jr. could be as bad as he was in that last game. I'm expecting a bounce back to a certain extent from MPJ. Aaron Gordon's been nails for them all playoffs. Christian Brown was the first player when they lost game 6 to the Clippers to post the game 7 graphic on his social media. He likes these moments. They have got to lock in. They've got to be ready. Win this game. Give yourself 48 hours. Flip that coin in game 7, buddy.
Think about how hard the Clippers went out for game 6 on their home floor. I could expect something very similar from the Nuggets. And unlike the Clippers, who only had 48 hours to recover, the Nuggets have that extra day, as you said. So they would actually stand a chance in game 7. He's Aniello Piro. I'm Jake Shapiro. We will be back on the Mile High Hoops podcast in, about 11 hours, 10 hours on our post-game show, which you can watch live on YouTube. So like and subscribe. We'll be back here wrapping it up, either the season or previewing a game 7. We're at that time of year. Whew, take a deep breath. It's going to be a long night, Denver, Colorado. We'll talk to you in a little bit.